on 105.9 FM and streaming worldwide on the WMAL app.
O'Connor and Company.
It is 7:36 now on this Thanksgiving Eve, which is a thing. I'm making it a thing. Love me my Thanksgiving Eve. Coming up at 8:05, Aiden Johnston, Gunners of America. It was an early Christmas for people who love their constitutionally protected right to bear arms in Maryland. Yeah, a huge win yesterday, and Aiden Johnston will give us the latest. Then at 8:35, Dr. Ben Carson, always a great, gentle man to speak to on a day of gratitude. And I'm thankful for you, Patrice Onwuka. I'm thankful you're here on this Wednesday. Good morning.
Oh, Larry, and I'm thankful for you and all of our listeners.
Are you cooking the turkey, by the way? Are you doing turkey?
I am not cooking the turkey, but I am cooking some sides.
Anything you want to share with us about those special sides? You seem you're seeming very cagey about this.
It's top secret, Larry.
Some sides. All right. We'll stick with it. All right. Joining us right now is one of our faves, Jane Hampton Cook. She is a presidential historian, and she's going to bring the goods here all about Thanksgiving and the history of Thanksgiving. She's, by the way, the author of 13 different history books. So, where to begin, Jane Hampton Cook, specifically about Thanksgiving? First of all, you put on Twitter the other day that, everyone's wringing their hands right now about, what if somebody brings up politics at Thanksgiving? Apparently, there's nothing new here. This is something that's part of the history of Thanksgiving is politics.
That's right. In 1765, there was the notorious Stamp Act, and people were protesting it, and it shouldn't surprise you that John and Abigail Adams had a political discussion about the Stamp Act at Thanksgiving dinner. So yes, Thanksgiving dinner has, it's gone back a long ways to have a little political talk at dinner. And Abigail's father opposed the Stamp Act, but he shared the pulpit with another reverend who supported the Stamp Act. So the people at this congregation were getting two completely different viewpoints from the pulpit.
Perfect.
So it's a little humorous,
Well, that's actually similar to what we're experiencing in churches these days too. But I got to ask you just said something about John Adams and Thanksgiving. I've always been told that it was President Lincoln who instituted Thanksgiving here officially. So how were they doing it during the Washington administration?
Well, so Thanksgiving became an official national holiday with Abraham Lincoln. But before that, it was a regional holiday. So in New England, each state in New England would determine what day they were going to have Thanksgiving. It wasn't always on the same day. So and John Adams, the descendant of two of the Mayflower Pilgrims. So it was also kind of a family thing. It had been passed down through the family. He was related to John and Priscilla Alden, and she was one of just a handful of women who survived the winter and lived, to Thanksgiving and to have that meal with the Wampanoag tribe in 1621. So it was part of his family lore as well.
Huh. So, Jane, on your Twitter feed, you actually posted a recent article kind of linking something that's going on with us today, which is obviously the Israel-Hamas war at this point. But going back, there was a Jewish Thanksgiving prayer written by Rabbi Isaac Turo in 1765. Can you talk to us about that prayer, and maybe does it have any resonance for today?
Yes. So I don't know why, but I came across several stories about Jews in early America, and this was about a week before the attacks. I posted my first article about how Jews in early America fled the Inquisition, which they could be arrested and killed if they were accused of something. And so they fled and they came to America, and they found respite in Rhode Island in particular. And so it's really they built a synagogue, which they couldn't have done in Portugal. And so they had religious liberty. And in 1765, the same year as the Stamp Act, the first published Jewish prayer was published in a newspaper by Isaac Turo. And it just showed that the Jewish people in Rhode Island were signaling to their, Christian neighbors, hey, we're in this with you on this Stamp Act. And so I feel like it was just a nice coming together and an acknowledgement that we give thanks to God for our blessings. And that was the gist of the prayer. And so I published it on my Substack, janehamptoncook.substack.com.
Oh, that's so cool. Our guest is Jane Hampton Cook. She's a presidential historian, and we're talking about the history of Thanksgiving. And it was America. I mean, listen, I know like Eucharist, which is a religious term, certainly a Christian term, is actually means Thanksgiving, right? So, I mean, Thanksgiving is an idea and a term and a tradition that transcends the U.S., but were we the first country to actually institute it as a national holiday? Do you know that?
I don't know that for sure, but it certainly seems that Thanksgiving was not just a feast. Sometimes it was a fast. It was the opposite.
Yeah.
So, sometimes it was going to church. But they went to church. They had Thanksgiving in July in 1766 because the king repealed the Stamp Act, and so they all had a Thanksgiving. So it wasn't just a fall thing and the harvest. It was sometimes just a day set aside for giving thanks to God for something big that had happened, in the colony. So it was certainly part of the culture. I don't really think we could have become a great nation if we had not been grateful along the way. It seems like they kind of went hand in hand. Is that there was this culture of gratitude, which helped them get through their grievances.
Well, Jane, something interesting about presidents and how they celebrate Thanksgiving is the Thanksgiving turkey pardoning. We just saw President Biden pardon a turkey on Monday. How long has that tradition been around? And are there other weird traditions related to presidents and Thanksgiving?
I can't exactly remember who the first president was. It was in the 20th century. It's really not that old of a holiday. I think honestly, it was a shout out to the farming industry, the agriculture industry. I think that's why how it came about. It was more of a way to promote, turkeys and produce and whatnot.
Gotcha.
So, yeah, I think that's kind of where it came from. But it is a little odd. It does feel a little strange,
I'm going to go out on a limb here. Listen, you're the historian. You know this stuff. But I'm thinking if the Thanksgiving in America had been instituted as a fast instead of a feast, I don't think it would have caught on.
I think you're probably right.
I'm just saying. Knowing us.
Yeah.
All right. We're going to leave it there. Jane Hampton Cook, always great to talk with you. Thank you for your rich contribution, not just to our show, but the books you've written and how easily accessible they are. Really great stuff, and we appreciate you joining us as always.
Thanks so much. Have a good Thanksgiving.
You bet.
You
Happy
too.
Thanksgiving.